Hey, fellow readers, I'm Jessica.
And I'm Ashley.
And this is
Seriez
Sisterz.
Sisterz.
Hey, guys, we've had some issues today.
Yeah.
It took like an hour longer just to get
set up.
started. There's some computer stuff, so
I mean, it's still
going. It hasn't done the
going.
thing that it was doing, so
That's good news.
hopefully it doesn't, because
Fingers crossed.
that'll suck.
Yep.
So I had a question for you,
Uh-huh.
and it relates to our story a little bit.
Okay.
Would you ever be the other woman?
Yes.
She didn't even think about it.
Depends.
So the man you're seeing is married.
Ooh, no.
No?
Do I know this woman?
I don't know. No. We'll say no.
Hypothetically. Okay. You guys are going to think I'm an asshole.
Fucking know if you know her.
I know it's supposed to be women together. But
I don't have a judgment towards either way.
If he's going to cheat, he's going to cheat. And some women, the good ones, I'm not one of them, will say, then let him cheat with somebody else.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's not fair to her. And I think it would depend on the situation and the guy.
Mm-hmm. But, okay.
But I would consider it.
Okay.
Yes.
That's fine.
I think I have been.
You've been considering this?
No! I have been the other.
Oh, you have? Oh my.
There was some circumstances.
Well, there's always circumstances.
I know.
And circumcisions.
Oh, there's so many circumvent. Ooh.
Yeah, I know.
That's a good one.
I don't know if I would. I think I would. If the situation was called for and all that. I know I would if he just had a girlfriend.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's less of a commitment.
If I want him, I'll steal him.
Or there's a thing that's called ethical non-monogamy, Jessica. We don't have to get into that.
Oh, well, that's not the kind of lifestyle I lead.
Okay. It's not her thing, you guys. That's not her thing.
Well, do you remember what
I
happened?
believe I do.
Tell me.
Let me think.
Tell me
I'm so bad
at
this.
It.
Okay. Anna and Joseph were Daniel's parents.
Mm-hmm.
She birthed him in a boxcar heading to work on the railroad.
Mm-hmm.
Then Daniel happens, and he's a fisherman, and he's like, I'm not going to school. I want to work on a boat. And so he's doing that. And then there's the earthquake, and then his parents burn up.
Yeah.
He is hanging out with Tony and his wife Maria.
They took him in to raise him.
And
raise him. He was already 17.
Right, and they did the whole bank thing because he made a lot of money ferrying people. Mark's there. And
Mark exists.
Mark is there.
Yeah.
He has a wife. I can't remember her name.
Sarah.
Thank you. And they bought the Oregon Queen.
Yeah.
Like Iron Queen is not right. That boat, but then the other guy's like, listen, bro, I got 2 boats for one. So they also got those 2 boats. And we're like, what's going to happen with the boats? That's a lot of boats. There's Thomas Selden.
There's 3.
There's too many boats. And then he already has one.
He had, yeah.
So that's 4.
He had 3.
Originally? And then he got...
Yeah, he has 3 fishing boats, but then he wanted the Oregon Queen. Anyways.
Yeah, so that's 4.
Yeah.
Yeah, you said 3. You said it's 3 boats, and I said it's 4.
Oh, well, he bought 3 boats that day.
That day?
Yeah.
Okay. I meant in general.
Okay, boats.
Anywho, Thomas Selden is the hunk of the town. He's not really, but he's very wealthy. And his daughter is Jean, with or without the nipples. We'll never know. The author knows. She doesn't like Feng Wu, who's the bookkeeper that Daniel hired, because he is a Chinese man. Oh no. Then him and Jean do it. Thanks.
That's pretty good. I am impressed. Okay. So we left off with Dan and Jean doing it.
Doing the deed.
Yep. And they were about, 21?
He was 21 and she
Dan
was 20,
was 21.
I think.
She was 20. So now we're jumping to 1914.
Okay, how many years
Now
is that?
Dan's 26.
Okay, so 5 years.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
After the birth of their second child, Dan and Jean moved into their new house in Russian Hill. While it did not compare to Thomas Selden's mansion, it did cost $110,000, which is about $3.5 million.
Yeah,
today.
I was like, that is a shit ton that day and age.
Jean was impressed by the fact that Dan never complained about the cost of anything. Whatever he felt about the making of money, he was indifferent to spending it. She had been the recipient of a princely wedding gift by her father, stock in the Selden Bank worth $100,000 and $10,000 in cash. But Dan would not touch the money. It was hers and it would be hers.
Oh.
Dan still worshipped the beautiful woman he had married, but it had changed in quality. They first had a son they named Thomas Joseph after both grandfathers. And then a girl they named Barbara.
Sorry?
They didn't like each other's mom's names, so they just picked something.
And they chose Barbara.
Yeah.
Okay.
No offense to any Barbras
out there. It's a great family name.
It's a very grown-up name
it's
for a
just
kid.
A very grown-up name. Like, you come out as a Barbara, you're immediately 60 years old. I have never seen a Barbara that's younger than 60.
I was in school with a Barbara. We called her Barbie.
Oh, that's cute.
Mm-hmm. All right. They moved into the new house, and for the next 8 weeks, Jean rejected Dan's sexual advances. She was polite.
That wasn't nice.
I know. Well, they had, I think, because you're supposed to wait 6 weeks after.
Yeah, did she just freshly deliver?
I think the baby was a couple weeks old, and then they moved into the house. So it's been like 10 weeks.
Yeah, she's
just not
exhausted and not in the fucking
it.
mood. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. She was polite but withdrawn. She was occupied with furnishing and decorating the new house. Finally, she gave in to Dan, but showed no emotion, just kind of laying there.
Oh, so she's starfishing. Okay.
What? I have never heard that.
I don't remember where I heard the term. Some youngin said it to me.
Starfishing. Afterward, he pleaded for an explanation for her being withdrawn, but she didn't respond. Upset and frustrated, Dan left their room and went to their library. He thought to himself, God damn it, what did I do? I haven't even looked at another woman in 4 years. Along with the hurt and frustration he felt with Jean, he was angry over the fact that the last 3 weeks, 5 of his boats had been hijacked out of their catch, their traps robbed.
That's fucked up.
Yeah. He and Mark owned 11 fishing boats now.
Now we're at 11.
Dan got to his feet.
That's a lot of boats.
That is a lot of boats. That's like 11.
That's 11.
Mm-hmm. Dan got to his feet, grabbed his pistol and his shotgun, and went down to the wharf.
He's going to fuck somebody up.
He is mad. His fleet captain asked what he was doing, and Dan said, I'm going to get that son of a bitch that's been stealing our crabs. The captain said, I know the boat, but my God, Dan, you can't just go kill a man, not over a load of crabs. After a couple of hours, they found the boat Dan was after. He had calmed down a little and decided he wouldn't kill anyone, but he had a new plan. The boat, the bad guy boat.
Bad guy boat.
Mm-hmm. It started to sail toward Dan's boat. The men aboard the bad guy boat, raising their pistols to Dan and his crew, presumably to rob them. Dan fired the shotgun into the hull of the thieves' boat and then immediately sped away. The thieves' boat's already sinking.
Oh, well, that's what you
So he sunk their boat. Their ship.
Sunk your battleship.
They sunk your ship. That's the ship sinking.
Just one little short and it's done.
Yes.
That's all it is.
About 7 months earlier, Dan had sold his shanty building on the waterfront and Mark had sold his store. They rented instead a large brick warehouse. Part of the warehouse was dedicated to mass production of denim trousers that Sarah had devised. So, jeans.
I know what denim trousers are.
Why do you look so confused?
Because where do we get? Why do we have a factory?
Because she invented some new pants and they were selling, so they have a little factory to produce these pants.
It's not a sweatshop.
No.
Okay, good.
Not that I'm aware of.
Okay. I feel like they would have told you.
The rest of the building held their offices for all of their flourishing enterprises.
It's too many enterprises.
Too many. Mark was a slow-speaking, easygoing man, and he was enchanted with the driving force of Dan Lavette, and very often terrified by it.
Are they going to be lovers?
No, they are not lovers. He just really
respects him.
Yeah. And
Respect you, dude.
You know what? I really like how passionate you are.
You're a cool guy.
But sometimes it's too much, man.
I get that.
Here he goes again, Mark thought, as Dan shouted, "Mark, this is it. The big bomb. I told you." Dan told Mark what he read in the paper that day, that Germany declared war on Russia, the start of World War I, and soon England and France would be joining it. Mark said, "Well, thank God we're here in America." Dan said, "You don't see it, do you? Now, I'm not saying we do this, but just think about it. We sell everything. The fishing boats, the garbage ships, the coaster, the pants business, everything." Pants business. That's funny. Then we got a cash base. We borrow $1 million and we buy or build a string of freighters. So he's wanting to
do big ships.
Yeah. Use the freighters to ship cargo and supplies to England and France for the war.
Okay.
Because it
feels a little dangerous.
Make
out
a
there.
lot of money.
Yeah, but it's
they're going
money.
far.
Yeah,
into the ocean
and out there.
You
don't know what the fuck is under there, under the water.
Fish.
Yeah, but big fish.
Big fish
who will bite you as soon as look at
you. Jean, while possessed.
Let's try that again. She's possessed.
No, I wrote this weird. Okay. Jean had only. Wow. Take 3.
Let's try it again.
Jean, while possessed of little artistic talent of her own, was utterly fascinated by the world of artists. As her initial infatuation for her husband withered, her own sense of self-esteem lessened. She fought to create in herself a series of interests that would restore her self-confidence, and instinctively she chose areas that she felt were outside of her husband's range of knowledge. Yeah. A half dozen new art galleries had opened in San Francisco, and Scoffers was one of the most prestigious.
Oh, was that the people go to there to scoff?
At the art? Look at that piece of
this
shit.
I love. Oh. Sorry. It's Always Sunny. What is Danny DeVito?
Oh my gosh.
What is her name? Josh, get on that.
Yeah, find his name and a picture of him because he's on that pillow you gave me.
Oh my God, I forgot I got you a flip sequence pillow with it on there.
It is
I also got Trav, our brother, a cutout, cardboard cutout.
Life size
of the Veets.
Maybe he is only that tall. I don't know.
He's a little man.
Yeah. Pretty cool.
We love the Danny.
Danny. And that guy's name's Dan. Okay. Anyways, Jean's friend persuaded her to go to the opening with her. A fancy man artist named Calvin Braderman.
Man artist
named Braderman had his
first or last.
Calvin Braderman.
Okay. Calvin
had his art on display, and Jean decided to buy one of his paintings, as well as another painting by an artist named Vlamink. Braderman then directed all of his charm to Jean, saying he wouldn't rest until he painted her. He insisted on accompanying Jean home and helping with the paintings. Did
she say, "Bitch, I got a husband. Yeah. He can help me"?
She liked the attention, so she let him help. And he was like this famous painter, and she wants to be like in with the artists.
In with the cool kids.
Yeah. Dan was upstairs in the nursery playing with Barbara and hearing Jean come home.
Just imagine an old lady's voice. Dad. Sorry.
It occurred to him that this was the first time in a long while that he had heard her laugh. He rushed downstairs. Jean introduced Dan to Braderman. Braderman said, "A pleasure to meet you. You have a beautiful home, sir, and a beautiful wife.
Whoa.
And now, a Braderman and a Flamink." He gestured toward the paintings. Dan asked, "What the devil is a Flamink?" Jean and Braderman burst out laughing.
Oh, he's so stupid he doesn't know what a Flamink is.
Dan realized they were laughing at him.
Yeah, what a piece of shit. I would have been so mad.
Braderman left, and Dan and Jean started arguing. Jean said, "I don't want this to turn into a quarrel." Dan said, "Christ almighty, I love you so much. I want you so much it hurts. I got sore because you were both laughing at me and the way he patronized me." Jean said, "Dan, we weren't laughing at you." Dan tried to kiss her, and she turned away.
Now was not the time, Dan.
Well, I know.
Let's argue. Okay, well, arguing and then I want to kiss you on the mouth, that just doesn't get the fuck away from me.
I know. I'm sorry.
Read the room, Dan.
So,
uh-oh.
Then there's this random scene.
Okay.
It's a random lesbian scene.
Oh.
Okay, where Jean has lunch with this French woman that lives with Braderman.
Okay.
And then this lady comes back to Jean's house.
And they do it.
That wasn't the plan.
Okay.
So
One thing led to another.
Yeah, she came to the house to see how Jean decorated or something, and then
that's what it's called.
This lady's like, "Come sit on the bed with me," and then puts
what
the moves
fuck?
on her.
And she said, "Sure." Would you? I probably would.
If I was into it. Yeah. That's different.
You can give it a go.
So yeah, the woman starts touching her, and Jean's into it, and he uses the word Venus mound. But
you're gonna have to give me a moment. I hate that.
Why do you hate it?
I hate the word mound in general.
So do I.
Fuck. I'm going to be saying that all the time now.
But the touching is interrupted by the nanny bringing the children home. And Jean acts all mad at the woman, even though she was into it, and kicks the woman out of the house. So I don't know what that was about.
The writer was horned, and he wanted to do that.
Yeah. So I don't know. Yeah, probably. I didn't know if he was trying to imply that maybe Jean's a lesbian.
She's figuring herself out.
But I think she's trying to figure out her sexuality and whatever.
Gotta do it.
Feng Wu stopped Dan before he left the office for the day. "My wife, who has heard me speak of you for so long now, begs me to extend an invitation to you."
He hasn't met his wife yet?
"And Mrs. Lavette." No, it's been 5 or 6 years. Yeah, 5 years. "We humbly ask you to take dinner with us at our home this Friday next. However, I understand if there are circumstances that prevent your accepting."
Like your wife being a bitch.
Mm-hmm. Dan said, "Is your wife a good cook?" Feng Wu said, "I would say so, yes." Dan said, "Then I'll be there with bells on. You count on that." Now, Dan walked into a meeting at the Selden Bank where he met with 5 very rich, powerful men, including his father-in-law, Thomas Selden. Dan was there to ask for $1 million. He confidently addressed the men, explaining that with all of Europe at war and Germany sinking English ships with their submarines, the only way England would survive is by the supplies the U.S. could ship to them. Dan said he needed $1 million to purchase 5 ships. He said he knew where the ships were and that they were in good condition. One of the men in the meeting was Mr. Whittier.
Oh, wealthy Mr. Whittier.
He challenged Dan's plan, and some of the other men brought up how young Dan was. Another man accused Dan of just trying to profit off of the war. Dan got mad and frustrated, threw his plans on the table, and said, "There are the facts and figures, gentlemen. I'm here for a loan, and you can grant me one or not, just as you please." And then he stormed out. Thomas followed him out and told Dan that he can't blow his stack like that. Dan said, "I will not be treated like some hoodlum kid." Thomas told him that this was just how the board worked and to give it time. Before dinner, Dan played with little Thomas, rolling around on the floor, growling and laughing. The nanny watched
As opposed to Big Thomas?
Yes. Big Thomas is
Thomas
Selden.
Yeah. I'm a dumbass.
Little Thomas, his son, Tommy.
Yeah, little Tom.
Little Tom. The nanny watched with disapproval and told Dan that he shouldn't get Thomas so excited before bed. The nanny always gets all huffy when Dan tries to play with the kids.
Well, that's rude.
Yeah. Dan joined Jean in the dining room for dinner and told her about Feng Wu's invitation. Jean said, "You're not serious. Dinner with racial slurs?" Dan said, "Don't call them that, Jean. People think I'm some kind of crazy financial genius with what Mark and me built in 4 years, but there's no way we could have done it without Feng Wu. He's the one who keeps us out of bankruptcy and juggles the books and puts the brake on when I want to blow the whole thing. This is the first time he ever asked me to his home." Jean said, "Did you accept the invitation?" And Dan said, "I accepted it." Jean said, "Then you'll go alone. I'm very sorry, Dan, but I have no intentions of dining with a Chinese, as you put it."
Makes me so nervous.
Okay. Racism's stupid and I hate it.
Doesn't make any fucking sense.
It doesn't.
So dumb.
Mark and Dan decided to go to Tony to discuss borrowing the $1 million. They ate dinner and then the men smoked cigars and talked business. Mark and Dan explained their business proposition. Tony asked them, "What about the German submarines?"
Yeah, won't they get you too?
Dan said, "The Germans haven't sunk an American ship yet. Maybe they won't. We can get insurance on the ship, not on the cargo, but on the ship. The profits are so big we can afford to lose a ship." "Tony, if this is impossible is what I can't do," Tony said. "You think I send you away from here without it? But we are a small bank. I never made a loan of $1 million. Well, first time. How soon you need it?"
Oh.
So, he got him the money. Yep. Dan walked alone into Chinatown to have dinner with Feng Wu and his family. He reflected on the fact that he had never actually thought of Chinese as people with homes and families. In all truth, he had never...
What?
He's getting woke right now.
I know. He's coming out of it and realizing, oh, people are fucking people?
Yeah.
Cool.
Mm-hmm. He had never, before knowing Feng Wu, seen Chinese as individuals, as human entities, as people with feeling, with pain and joy and suffering.
That's the problem.
She's heated, guys.
Get me all riled up.
Yeah. I don't want to defend it, but, I mean, he grew up
he was
like
brainwashed.
That. Yeah.
I'm glad that he realizes that now.
Mm-hmm.
Late is better than never, but come on, dude.
He tried to understand how Jean felt and what were the origins of her anger, her rage at the thought of spending an evening with Chinese. But how could he condemn Jean, thinking back to his own first meeting with Feng Wu and his patronization of the man?
It's true, but he also gave him a job and gave him an advance on his paycheck and fed his kid. Mm-hmm. So,
yeah.
He's better than her.
Well, everyone is. She's not my favorite.
No, she sucks.
Feng Wu answered the door quickly, nervously smiling and nodding. "So very glad to see you, Mr. Lavette. You honor my poor home and my unworthy family." Dan said, "That's very Chinese, Feng Wu. I'm sure your family's pretty damn worthy. Anyway, I'm glad to be here." Dan made some excuse as to why Jean couldn't come with him and stepped into what was evidently the family room, dining room, and living room combined. For some reason, he didn't entirely understand. The room, a hodgepodge of so many things, came together and gave him a feeling of comfort and intimacy.
It's homey.
Mm-hmm. Across the room, a young woman stood facing them. Feng Wu introduced Dan to his daughter, Mei Ling. She said, "I'm so happy to meet you at last, Mr. Lavette." Mei Ling's my favorite.
Ooh, good.
She's about 19. Feng Wu said, "You must excuse my wife for the moment. She knows that you are a very important guest, and therefore she felt that she must prepare an important meal. I'm afraid it requires all of her attention at the moment."
Oh.
Mei Ling said, "Do you like Chinese food, Mr. Lavette? My mother is a fine cook." Dan said, "Aside from the omelets your father used to cook up for me, all I know is chop suey. So sure, I like it." Mei Ling said, "We shall see."
Prepare to live,
Oh,
Dan.
man. It's about to go down. She went to the kitchen and brought back a platter of dumplings. "Sao Mei," she told him. "It means small steamed dumplings, Mr. Lavette. You can pick them up with your fingers, or you may use chopsticks." She made a face and shook her head. "No, don't use chopsticks." Feng Wu said, "My daughter, you see, is a product of American civilization. She speaks when she is not spoken to. She voices opinions which are not asked of her, and she chatters in front of the men in her family. There
God
is
forbid.
there is only one man in my family," she said, and kissed Feng Wu's bald spot on top of his head. "I do chatter in front of him. He's quite right. I am entirely without graces." When dinner was ready, Feng Wu directed them to the dining table. He told Dan about his family immigrating to America, and up until Feng Wu was 5, he only spoke Chinese. He said that his wife, her name's So Toy,
Ooh.
was from a different part of China and spoke a different dialect, and she has learned no English. Mei Ling said, "You sit here, Mr. Lavette. I will join you, because after 3 generations in America, as my father said, we have succumbed to customs of the barbarians. But not my mother. She would die first, so I'm afraid you will just have to accept the fact that she will serve us. She is a lovely lady and a marvelous cook." Feng Wu gave her a disapproving look, and she giggled. So Toy entered the dining room, and Feng Wu introduced her to Dan. She stood with her eyes cast down, but a big smile on her face. Dan, recognizing she would have hugged and kissed him if she had thought it proper. Mei Ling told Dan that her parents spoke different dialects, but they somehow understood each other. She said, "I really think my mother understands more English than she admits to." So Toy served the first dish, a bowl of soup. Mei Ling said, "You don't wait. You taste it immediately. Lick your lips and tell my mother how delicious it is." Feng Wu said, "Truly, I apologize for my daughter. That's enough, Mei Ling."
Nuh-uh.
Dan said, "No, let her instruct me, by all means. Only tell me, when you're not lecturing on Chinese cooking, what do you do?" "I'm a librarian." "Does that shock you?" "My father is not quite certain it's proper." She instructed both men to eat their soup and then said, "My mother is preparing 5 extraordinary dishes which will all be ready at the same time. How that is accomplished is a secret we guard with our lives." And then she started giggling again, and Dan caught it from her. The two of them burst out laughing. Dan tried to stop but couldn't, caught in a laughing fit he had never experienced before.
Oh, that makes me sad.
Yeah. "Please forgive me," Dan said to Feng Wu. "For laughing?" Feng Wu asked. He had never seen Dan Lavette like this, relaxed, easy, laughing. Mei Ling explained that her father spoke Cantonese and her mother spoke Shanghainese.
Hmm.
Feng Wu learned from his father how to speak Mandarin. Surprised, Dan asked, "You mean they speak more than one language in China?"
Everywhere, brother.
Mei Ling said, "Oh, many more than one language, Mr. Lavette, except that the educated people everywhere speak Mandarin, and my father is excellently educated. And when you have left, he will lecture me for at least an hour on my unmaidenly lack of modesty. But I am liberated. Not at all easy for a Chinese woman." Feng Wu said, "You are certainly liberated, to my sorrow." Mei Ling laughed, and Dan found her laughter infectious. Mei Ling said something to her mother in Chinese, which caused her mother to giggle. Amazed, Dan said, "You speak Chinese too?" Mei
You
Ling,
got to, man.
Mei Ling said, "Do you think I grew up without ever talking to my mother? I was speaking Shanghainese and Mandarin before I ever knew a word of English, but I can't speak Cantonese very well." Throughout the dinner, Dan inquired about all of the different foods that So Toy brought out, complimenting her on how delicious everything was. Mei Ling explained all the different foods and how they were cooked. When dinner was finished, Feng Wu excused himself to the kitchen to speak to So Toy. Mei Ling leaned over to Dan and said quietly, I don't always behave like this, Mr. Lavette. Let me explain. We never had a Caucasian in our home before.
Ooh, it was a big day.
A Caucasian?
Got one of them whiteys in our house.
Oh my God. My father, poor man, was terrified. He worships the ground you walk on, and so do I,
Aw.
believe me. And I'm speaking quite seriously now. You are the great hero of my life, and I've heard stories about you for the past 5 years, so I feel I know you very well. My mother and father planned and discussed this evening for weeks, and I've been talking my head off to put them at ease. What I'm trying to say is just that we all admire you and love you, and we want you to feel relaxed here and happy. Dan said, I can't remember a better evening.
My wife sucks.
Yeah.
Thanks for this.
Yeah. I needed a laugh. Thank you. Dan and Mark bought the 5 ships they wanted. They worked 14-hour days, putting them into operation. Mark took over a good deal of the work, booking cargo, dealing with the British and French trade commissions, working through the legalities of what could and could not be done as a neutral in a world of war. But that left Dan with the problem of operation and crew and supply and loading and coaling and 1,000 other
And all the
details
things.
that he had not anticipated for. He thanked God for Feng Wu, who could do almost anything. Dan rose at 6 in the morning and stumbled into bed around 10 or 11 at night, and found himself increasingly a stranger to his wife and children. Yet his thoughts turned more and more frequently, not to Jean, whose aloofness had become a fact of his life, but to Mei Ling, and to the single evening of laughter and joy that he had experienced with her. And one day at 3 o'clock, he dropped everything and drove to the library to see her.
Oh.
When Mei Ling saw him, she smiled and said, Mr. Lavette, what a pleasant surprise. He blurted out, I got no reason to be here. I just wanted to see you again. She said,
so cute.
That's a reason, isn't it? Dan asked what time she got off work and asked if they could go for a drive and have dinner. She said she was off at 5 and accepted his invitation. He went and sat in his car and waited, rehearsing in his mind what he would say to her, trying to understand what he was doing, what drove him, because it wasn't sex. He had not even thought of this slight, flat-chested girl
Jesus Christ.
in terms of sex. He was in love with Jean, wasn't he? Yeah, like, really?
Gotta add it in there.
That's why I put it in there, because he did. At 5 o'clock, Mei Ling came out of the library and met Dan. She said, I'm really very excited, Mr. Lavette. I've never been in an automobile before. They began the drive across town, and after a few minutes of silence, he said, I'm trying to think of what I should say to you, and I can't. To put him at ease, Mei Ling said, Well then, I shall deliver a short lecture on the birth and history of the San Francisco Public Library. When she was finished,
She's got it.
Yeah. Dan said, Mei Ling, can I talk to you? I mean, really talk to you? I mean, I never talk to anyone about what I feel inside. I never had to, or maybe I never could. She said, You can talk to me, Dan. You can say anything you want to me, anything. Because what I owe to you, I can never repay. Dan said, God damn it, Mei Ling. I don't want you to be grateful to me. She said, Then what do you want, Dan? He said, I don't know. I'm married. I think I love my wife. But she isn't there. I never whined about anything in my life. I haven't looked at another woman since I married. She said, Dan, will you listen to me? He glanced at her and she said, I think you're the finest man I ever knew. I have my reasons for thinking so. Now, I agreed to spend this evening with you. I don't want you to apologize, and I don't want you to feel that you have to explain anything. I want you to try to feel the way you did when you came to our house for dinner. So no more explaining, because I'm very happy. I am spending an evening with a man I honor and like. Now, have you ever read Charles Lamb's dissertation on roast pig? I know it by heart, and while you drive, I shall repeat it to you, slightly abridged.
She's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Dan saw Mei Ling 3 more times over the next 2 weeks. He kissed her on the cheek, but there was no other physical contact. He simply knew that when he was with her, the churning, angry discontent within him disappeared. Jean didn't question his absence in the evenings he was away. Mm-hmm. More and more, she was becoming a part of the Russian Hill circle of writers and artists. She threw a big party at the house, and the mayor was the only guest that seemed to notice Dan's absence. Jean was glad Dan wasn't there. She was never sure what he would say or whose feelings he would bruise.
She used to love that about him.
I know. He used to say whatever was on his mind. And
She
was
knew
like,
that's how he rolled when she met him.
So charming. That same evening, Dan was with Mei Ling and told her that he cared for her and he wanted to make love to her. And no longer wanted to make love to Jean.
Oh.
Mei Ling said, "You are a strange man, Danny. You never even kissed me on the lips." He asked her how she felt about him, and she said, "I love you. I loved you from the moment you walked into our apartment and stood there a little frightened." Dan said, "Why? Because I helped your father? Because I hired him?" She said, "Oh, you are stupid sometimes. No, not because you helped my father. Because you are you." Mei Ling suggested they go somewhere, and they went to a motel.
For the fornication.
They had the sexy time.
Yeah.
And if you want to know how her breasts were described...
Oh, God, it's here.
Her breasts, small and...
Her breasts, that's what it's called. It's a poem.
Yeah. Her breasts, small and firm. Hold on.
Like a bag of sand.
The nipples like budding roses in nests of old ivory.
Ew, what? What?
Yeah.
Okay. I wonder how long it took him to write that. Like, he was trying real hard. It's way too flowery. That is not okay, Venus Mound.
Get
me out of here.
In 1917, Dan and Mark had made a lot of money.
A lot.
With the shipping of supplies to England and France. So what are they now?
I don't know, how long has it been? 2 more years? 14.
2 more years?
Was it 1950?
So he's like 28?
Yeah.
Okay. But in March, one of their cargo ships was torpedoed by submarine off the coast of England. Within minutes, the ship went down and there were no survivors. The captain of that ship, his name was Jack Harvey, had been with Dan and Mark since they had purchased the Oregon Queen. Mark and Sarah had even adopted Jack's daughter, Claire, due to Jack constantly being at sea. And now Mark had to go tell her that her father was dead. They hadn't lost any money, but the news of the death of the crew was very difficult. Mark and Dan argued a little over what was right and wrong about their business venture and using the war as an excuse to make money. 6 months after Dan and Mei Ling made love that first time, Dan purchased a narrow Victorian house within walking distance of the library. He had given the home to Mei Ling as a gift, and it took a week for him to convince her to let him pay to furnish and decorate it.
Aww.
How she dealt with her parents, he never knew, just as he did not know whether Feng Wu was at all aware of the affair. This was a part of her life she would not discuss with him. She said, "This is a thing that I must do, and I must do it in my own way and without destroying what exists between you and my father. So, trust me."
All right.
Now, after the news of Jack Harvey's death, Dan went to Mei Ling's house. He told her about the ship and about his guilt about what happened and making money because of the war. She comforted him and said, "People become rich out of war. Some people. Other people become poor, and other people die. This is not new. It's as old as war, and you have become richer because of the war. You are trapped in a moral judgment." Dan mentioned selling all of it, the stock, property, and washing his hands of everything. But then what would he do? He has no life apart from ships. Mei Ling said, you and me, we're a life apart from ships. They argue a little about him needing to divorce Jean. And Dan reassures her that he loves her more than anything. It was just complicated. Mei Ling says...
Classic line.
I know. She says, "I love you so much, and I don't know why I said all this. Unless it's because I'm pregnant." Baby! They're gonna have a baby.
Uh-oh, what's he gonna do?
A week later, the United States entered World War I. About a month after that, the draft began. Mark's son, Jacob, who is now almost 19, was drafted, and so was Anthony's son, Stephen.
Not Stephen.
1 year later, over the protests of the children's nanny, Dan woke Thomas early and took him out on the boat. No, not old Dan. No,
Little Dan. Little Tommy.
Little Tommy.
Little Tommy.
Not old Thomas.
Come on, buddy.
Time to go. Thomas was six now. Dan was explaining all the different parts of the boat, and Tommy listened in delight, not really understanding what his father was talking about, but delighted with the fact that he had this enormous, exciting father of his entirely to himself. After they were done on the boat, Dan took Tommy to the Casala home for dinner, and then they returned home by 8. Dan expected Jean to be mad, but she appeared to be in a rare good mood and invited him to eat dinner with her. She caught him up on the goings-on in the art community.
Oh, because he was wondering.
And she asked what was new with his business. Dan told her that he and Mark were going to sell the cargo ships to Whittier for $3 million. He explained that Mark's son had been drafted and was overseas, and Mark just couldn't stand making any more profit off the war. Jean makes a racist comment about Mark being Jewish.
Jesus Christ,
and
lady.
Dan scolds her. Yeah. She's like, isn't that just like a Jew? Or something.
Whoa!
Yeah.
To do what?
To make a bunch of money and then change his mind. I don't know. I don't know.
Okay.
Then he goes on telling her that they're also selling because he's pretty sure the war will be ending soon, and then the cargo ships won't be worth anything.
Yeah.
She asked him what he plans to do next, and he said he and Mark had bought Spellman's department store. She was like,
just trying shit.
You? Yeah. Like, what else can I do? He gets bored and then he wants to do something. She was like, you in a store without a ship? And Dan said, you're right. The store is only part of it. I'm going to build the biggest damn passenger ship that ever sailed out of this bay, and it will be a floating palace. Stephen Casala had been wounded overseas, and now, after months in the hospital, had returned home. Dan drove up the coast to the Casala's home to see him, and this time he brought Mei Ling and their 10-month-old son named Joseph, after Dan's father. Over a year ago, when Mei Ling was about 7 months pregnant, Dan went to Tony and told him the whole story about Mei Ling. Dan expected Tony to be angry or disgusted, but Tony was thoughtful and asked Dan, you love this Chinese woman? And Dan had said yes. With Tony's permission, Mei Ling lived with Tony and Maria for the last 2 months of her pregnancy. Maria and their daughter Rosa accepted and fell in love with Mei Ling right away, mostly because no one could resist her charm. Jean began having an affair with Alan Brockerman. He was a very wealthy, divorced Harvard graduate.
Harvard.
He played tennis and had a couple of prized horses.
Oh, bet he did.
If not the most sought-after single man in Jean's social circle, he was certainly one of them. Perhaps...
What happens when she gets him? Then she's not going to want him anymore.
Perhaps too tarnished by divorce and reputation for some of the best families, but nevertheless eagerly welcomed where a single man was required at a dinner party. Jean thought Alan was boring compared to Dan, but the excitement of the affair overrode the fact that he was indeed a boring man. After a few weeks into the affair, she told Alan that she needed something, but didn't know how to get it. Perhaps he could help. She said, I want to know who my husband is sleeping with.
Uh-oh.
Alan said, you want to open a can of worms? My dear Pandora, let it lie. Right at this moment, we have a very good thing going, and if your fisherman is banging a filly, why, it's simple justice. Quid pro quo, as the lawyers say. Jean batted her eyelashes and said please, and Alan agreed to hire a detective for her.
Damn it. Damn it.
And that's where we'll stop.
Damn it.
So, I never like condone cheating on your spouse.
No, in this situation, neither one of them are happy. Both of them are cheating.
Mm-hmm.
They should just end it because what the fuck are you doing?
Yeah. At one point, she says, "Seldons don't divorce" or something along those lines.
So you'd rather stay in this shitty marriage and sneak around. That makes perfect sense.
Yeah,
I
stupid.
despise this woman. Does she get better? I'm going to take that as a no.
So I started the next book in the series,
Oh.
and I think she's a little better in that one, but not this one. No, sorry. You're just not going to like her.
Well, I don't like her.
And that's that.
I ain't like her.
All right. Well, you heard it here.
You heard it here. Thanks for listening.
Thanks for listening. Subscribe to our YouTube channel.
Yes, hopefully this one looks better.
Yeah, sorry about that.
Yeah.
I don't know what happened.
Who knows?
Technology is not my thing.
No. It's hard when other people are in your space because we don't have our own yet. Okay.
All right, guys. Thanks. Love
bye.
you. Bye.